Hello and welcome. I'm at a place which will be known well to all the locals. It's called Heaven's Gate, and it's this gap in the trees at the top of a hill. And you can look down on Longleat House and the Longleat Estate behind me, and you may be able to hear all the sheep and animals bleating. It's a marvelous view and a favorite spot for people to come to. But just imagine I was standing in heaven, and down there below me is earth. And I'm sort of like God up here, and I think God the Father looked down on earth and he saw all the mess that human beings were making of the world. He saw man's inhumanity to man, and he knew that something of the wonderful world of heaven needed to be taken to earth. So he sent his son Jesus, and Jesus brought something of heaven to earth. Well, if this is Heaven's Gate up here, Jesus sort of took the gateway between heaven and earth closer to earth. He is the gate. And when he walked the earth, down there on the earth, he was the gateway through which the wonderful things of heaven came to earth, in all the healing miracles and the way he reached out to those who are marginalized and oppressed. And he called a bunch of people to follow him, and he called them his disciples. A disciple is a learner from a teacher, from Jesus. And he asked them to be gateways for heaven to come to earth. And it was a wonderful thing to be called to be. And we too are called to be Jesus' disciples, to bring heaven to earth. We're called to be those gateways through which heaven flows to all the marginalized and the oppressed and the people who are sick and the people who are struggling. We are called to be that gateway. And I wonder whether you think of that calling as a good one, and whether you would like to be a disciple if that is a job description of the role. Well, Jesus is calling us all to follow him, to be his disciples, to be the people who bring the wonderful things of heaven to earth. And Jesus had a bit about that in the Lord's Prayer. He said, "Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven." So something of the kingdom of heaven gets brought to earth as we live our lives out and follow Jesus. And there's a verse in the book of Habakkuk in the Bible, chapter 3 and verse 2, which I just want to use as a prayer as we start this service. Lord, I have heard of your fame. I stand in awe of your deeds, O Lord. Renew them in our day, in our time, make them known. Amen.